A parliamentary delegation made up of two houses of parliament is on a visit to Tunisia and Mauritania until April 23rd as part of Algeria's candidacy to the presidency of the Pan-African Parliament. The US-Iranian negotiations held in Islamabad, Pakistan, in an attempt to reach a truce have ended without any progress being achieved. And the Palestinian presidency has condemned the assault launched by scores of Jewish settlers and an Israeli official on the Al-Aqsa Mosque esplanade in occupied East Al-Quds, saying it constitutes a blatant breach of its legal and historical status. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. First, in our news, a parliamentary delegation made up of two houses of parliament is on a visit to Tunisia and Mauritania until April 23rd as part of Algeria's candidacy to the presidency of the Pan-African Parliament. During this visit, the parliamentary delegation will hold meetings with the Speaker of the National Council and regions and districts of Tunisia, Imad Derbali, the Speaker of the Assembly of the Tunisian People's Representatives, Ibrahim Boudrabella, and the Speaker of the Mauritanian National Assembly, Mohamed Bamba Migat. Intensive preparations are underway in Annaba, and more precisely at the archaeological site of Hippon and the St. Augustine Basilica, ahead of the visit of Pope Leo XIV to Algeria at the invitation of President Abdelmadjid Tebboune. The Director of Culture and Arts for Annaba, Saliha Berkouk, said her department, in coordination with the relevant authorities, has launched major works to upgrade and prepare the religious and archaeological sites included in the visit. At the Hippon site, new information panels have been installed to showcase the site's rich historical and archaeological value, while arrangements are also being made to receive official delegations and visitors expected from several countries, particularly Europe, as the Pope visit will include both Algiers and Annaba. The St. Augustine Basilica, the restoration specialist, has been assigned to clean and restore the collections, while maintenance teams continue site improvement works. Preparations have also included new information panels on St. Augustine, alongside a proposal to establish a Center for Augustinian Studies submitted to the Minister of Culture and Art during her latest visit to the region. The monuments are also expected to be included in a future UNESCO preliminary World Heritage List en route aimed at promoting cultural tourism and attracting visitors, researchers and admirers of St. Augustine's thought and legacy within global Christian heritage. The 23rd edition of the Jazagro Professional Agri-Food Production Exhibition has kicked off and will be held until April 15 at the Père Maritime Exhibition Hall here in Algiers, with the participation of over 600 national and foreign exhibitors from 28 countries. Mariam Barshi has more details.
This year's edition will be marked by a strong presence of Algerian producers representing over 150 companies. Companies from Italy, Turkey, China and Germany will exhibit agri-food equipment as well as processing and packaging solutions. Arab countries including Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Lebanon, Oman and Tunisia will also take part in the event. The 2026 edition will place particular emphasis on innovation, notably through the Jazinov competition. More than 26,000 professional visitors seeking new suppliers, technical solutions and business opportunities are expected to take part in the exhibition. On the sidelines of the exhibition, conferences and workshops will be organized focusing notably on exports as a growth lever, the valorization of agricultural byproducts, food security, green innovation, the circular economy, as well as the packaging sector in Algeria.
French elected officials and local authorities have reiterated their strong support for the Sahrawi people's right to self-determination on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the proclamation of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, RASD. Mariam Barshi has more details again.
According to the media platform Don't Forget Western Sahara, several political leaders and councillors across France stressed on the occasion that the continued political deadlock should not overshadow the Sahrawi people's legitimate right to decide their own future. In Vitry-sur-Seine, Mayor Pierre Belloc sent an official message of congratulations to the Sahrawi authorities. In his statement, he recalled that the proclamation of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic came after years of struggle against Spanish colonial rule before the territory later faced Moroccan occupation. The mayor also condemned what he described as ongoing human rights violations in the occupied territories, pointing to pressure on activists, civil society groups, and the families of political prisoners. He further urged the French state to adopt a position fully consistent with international law. French MP Jean-Paul Lecoq, a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the National Assembly, for his part emphasized that the right of peoples to self-determination remains a cornerstone of international law. He referred to the United Nations resolutions as well as rulings by the Court of Justice of the European Union, which reaffirmed the separate legal status of Western Sahara. Lecoq also warned against violations of international principles, particularly regarding natural resources and respect for borders. Lecoq also warned against violations of international principles, particularly regarding natural resources and respect for borders, while praising the resilience of the Sahrawi people in their continued struggle for freedom and independence. The mayor of Gonfreville-Lorcher, Alban Bruno, also renewed its long-standing solidarity with the Sahrawi people. The municipality, engaged for decades in cooperation and solidarity initiatives, stressed the inalienable nature of the right to self-determination, of the need to uphold UN resolutions.
And U.S.-Iranian negotiations held in Islamabad, Pakistan, in an attempt to reach a truce have ended without any progress being achieved. Addressing a press conference today in Islamabad, the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance stressed that he was returning back to the U.S. without reaching an agreement with Iran after having made, as he put it, the last and best possible offer to end the war. He deplored notably the absence of a firm commitment by Tehran to relinquish its nuclear program. However, the Iranian authorities affirmed that the negotiations, which they say would resume later, could not succeed unless the U.S. abandoned its illegal and excessive demands. The Iranian Foreign Affairs spokesman said the success of the diplomatic process depends on the other party's seriousness and goodwill and its acceptance of Iran's rights and legitimate interests. In Lebanon, 6 people were killed during airstrikes carried out today against the locality in the southern part of the country. The news agency ANI said that 1 person was seriously wounded when strikes hit a house in the locality of Marub. The latest death toll released by the health ministry put at over 2,000 the number of people killed since the Israeli army launched its attack on Lebanon early last month. And thousands of others have been injured, whereas over 1 million Lebanese have been displaced since the aggression started. And the Palestinian presidency has condemned the assault launched by scores of Jewish settlers and an Israeli official on the Al-Aqsa Mosque esplanade in occupied East Al-Quds, saying it constitutes a blatant breach of its legal and historical status. It rejected the move as a dangerous escalation and an unacceptable provocation that are part of a systematic policy and that imposing a new reality on the site. The Palestinian presidency recalled that the Al-Aqsa Mosque was an exclusive Muslim religious site and called on the international community to take up its responsibility and take a firm position to force the Israeli occupying authorities to put an end to their violations in the holy city and in the occupied Palestinian territories as a whole. This came as 2 Palestinians, including 1 teenager, were wounded during an incursion carried out today by the Israeli occupying forces into the West Bank town of Nablus. According to the news agency Wafa, the Israeli soldiers fired live ammunition and tear gas during search operations targeting various districts of the town after entering the old city of Nablus early today. 2 Palestinians were arrested during the operation. Earlier, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry condemned the killing of 7 Palestinians during an operation carried out by the Israeli army in the refugee camp of Bureij in the central part of the Gaza Strip. It was quoted by media saying that the Israeli occupying authorities were exploiting the ceasefire and were ignoring their obligations by implementing their expansionist plans. Elsewhere, more than 2,000 demonstrators were arrested during a rally staged in Lebanon to press for a lifting of the ban imposed on the Palestine Action Group. Scores of people gathered in Trafalgar Square to denounce the measure and express their support to the Palestinian people. Now the global Sumud flotilla for Gaza, which was scheduled to depart today from Barcelona with the aim of breaking the blockade imposed by the Zionist entity around the Palestinian enclave, has postponed its departure due to favorable weather conditions and will move to a nearby port, according to organizers. Around 40 vessels were supposed to leave Barcelona this Sunday as part of a new mission by pro-Palestinian activists who had already attempted last year to reach the territory devastated by more than 2 years of genocidal aggression. However, worsening weather conditions in northern Spain, where heavy rain and strong waves are expected in the coming hours, forced the organizers to change their plans. The vessels will head to nearby port while waiting for an improvement in the weather condition. The United Nations has described the situation in Sudan as the world's largest food crisis, amid an ongoing armed conflict that has pushed millions of civilians to the brink of famine and severe food insecurity. The World Food Programme, WFP, confirmed that more than 19 million people out of about 45 million in Sudan are facing acute food insecurity as the humanitarian situation continues to deteriorate due to the ongoing war. After meeting Sudan's Prime Minister Camille Idriss in Khartoum, WFP Deputy Executive Director Carl Scow said the continuation of fighting across large parts of the country will worsen human suffering, stressing that Sudan is experiencing the world's largest food crisis. For her part, the UNHCR representative to South Sudan, Marie-Hélène Verney, reported that the quarter of the population was forced to displacement by the fighting. Let's listen to her.
A quarter of the population of the country has been displaced since the start of the fighting. That's about 14 million people. 9 million are internally displaced. The rest, around 4 million, are in neighboring countries, mostly Chad, South Sudan, and Egypt. As we speak, we still have fighting ongoing in large parts of the country. Very much this year in 3 states that are called the Kordofans, fighting still ongoing in Darfur and also in Blue Nile. And one thing to note is the increased use of aerial bombardments and drone attacks. Women and girls are particularly at risk first and foremost, but not only of conflict-related sexual violence. We are seeing, and unfortunately, conflict-related sexual violence that often take place when they are trying to run for safety.
The UN also warned that aid for Sudanese refugees in Chad could face major cuts in the coming months unless $428 million funding gap is filled. Chad currently hosts around 1.3 million Sudanese refugees. And a senior UN humanitarian official has warned that Haiti is facing one of the most severe humanitarian crises, with more than half of its population in urgent need of assistance. During a press briefing held in New York following a recent visit to Haiti, the director of the Crisis Response Division at the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, Idam Wosornu, said that 6.4 million people now need humanitarian assistance out of a population of about 12 million. She highlighted the worsening food insecurity, noting that around 5.7 million people are suffering from acute food insecurity in Haiti, with families skipping meals and children leaving school to help support their households. Haiti is also facing what she described as a deepening protection crisis, driven by escalating violence, mass displacement, and gender-based violence. With this last piece of news, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Time now for weekly programs with my colleague Jamal Silmani and my colleague Asya Bakar. As for me, I'll meet you again tomorrow for a fresh edition of our news bulletin. Until then, stay tuned to Radio Algeria International, and bye-bye for now.
Welcome to your weekly program, Destination Algeria. I'm Jamal Silmani. There are a number of great destinations in Algeria just waiting to be discovered. A curious mixture of cultures and influences, Algeria has something interesting to see in just about every city. The country is also the first largest on the African continent, so you can be sure that there are plenty of towns and cities to visit. Let's visit Algeria's fascinating destinations, you and I, together. Architecture is interesting and diverse. Since the country has virtually always been a crossroads between East and West, it has seen many different cultural and architectural influences over the years. In ancient times, Algeria Algeria's strategic position meant that the major military powers of the time would do their utmost to gain control over it. As a result, Algeria has seen Phoenician, Roman, Vandal, Byzantine, Arab, Turk and French invasions, each leaving their own distinctive influence on the country. With each conquest, new buildings were constructed and changes were made to government. Whilst not all these ancient cultures have a significantly notable bearing on the architecture in Algeria today, there are a few who have. The most notable is that of the Arab invasions, which has perhaps had the most lasting and extensive effect. However, signs in other cultures all over the country, from Phoenician road signs to ancient Roman ruins or French-speaking Arabs. Most find that the best place to start a tour of the country's architecture is in Algiers. The city was founded over 1,000 years ago and has seen beautiful ancient masterpieces survive alongside somewhat newer additions. The old part of the city is the best place to head if you want to see historical buildings. The Kasbah, with its crowded lanes and markets, is supported and surrounded by some beautiful old buildings. You will also find 11th century mosques and Moorish places here. Other places worth seeing are Notre Dame d'Afrique Church and the Maqam Shahid or Martin's Monument and the Jardin d'Essai. Once you've seen all you can in Algiers, you might try a tour of the surrounding towns as you head out towards Timgad. Timgad features a number of beautiful and important Roman ruins. The ruins are well preserved due to the natural Algerian atmosphere, and you will be able to see delightful mosaics and amphitheater and a number of other artifacts. Other interesting architecture in Algeria features French colonial-style fortresses, unique rounded mud huts in rural areas, and ancient colossal Arab-styled homes. Mosques and other religious buildings also tend to show interesting trends in architecture. Of course, recent times have seen the building of newer, more modern structures, but these too may be of interest to you and should not be overlooked. If you're going to Algeria soon, take a tour of the many varied and beautiful architectural delights to be found in this unique country. You don't have to be a builder or an architect to appreciate the graceful area of buildings. Islam being the dominant religion of Algeria, it comes as no surprise that the majority of the country's sacred and religious sites are connected to the Islamic faith. One or more mosques can be found in virtually every Algerian town and city. While the primary purpose of a mosque is a center of worship, it is also a place for learning and for taking care of matters relating to the Islamic community it serves. With their beautifully shaped domes, spires, and intricate decoration, the distinctive architecture of mosques generally makes them stand out among the surrounding buildings. And while tourists may not be permitted to enter them, mosques are nevertheless viewed as tourist attractions. The many mosques found in Algeria, 3 stand out as having significant historical value: the Great Mosque of Tlemcen, the Great Mosque of Algiers, and the Kechaoua Mosque in Algiers, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Other mosques of note include the El Kautar Mosque in Blida, Shifa, the Lakhdariya Mosque in the northern Algerian town of Lakhdariya, the Mosque of Constantine, and the Pasha Mosque in Oran. Located on the north side of the city of Algiers on a cliff overlooking the bay, the Notre Dame d'Afrique, a Roman Catholic church, was completed in 1872 and continues to serve as the Basilica of Algiers. Lavishly decorated with mosaic patterns and religious pictures, the church has the following inscription on the curved wall behind the altar: Notre Dame d'Afrique, priez pour nous et pour les musulmans, meaning Our Lady of Africa, pray for us and for the Muslims. Visiting some of the religious sites in Algeria will give tourists some insight into an aspect of daily life that is of great importance to the people who call this fascinating country home. Second part of our weekly program, Destination Algeria, we focus on the Jama al-Jdid Mosque. At approximately 350 years old, the Jama al-Jdid Mosque is by no means a new religious site, as the name reflects. The Jama al-Jdid Mosque was constructed in 1660 during the Ottoman period, and even though its designation changed a few times over the centuries, and reconstruction was done to suit its new purposes, the building survived the French onslaught, which saw many historic buildings destroyed. The ruling forces changed, so did the Jama al-Jdid Mosque, and is today an interesting structure that reflects numerous architectural styles. Some of the styles that can be seen in the architecture include Byzantine, Italian, Turkish, and Andalusian. Through years of remodeling, visitors will enjoy this spectacular attraction as it is educational, interesting, and breathtakingly beautiful. There are two entrances to the Jama al-Jdid Mosque, and visitors can look forward to exploring the ramparts, domes, vaults, columns, and wood finishes that have been designed to perfection. As the mosque was forced to take on the role of various religions, new designs and additions were made to accommodate each community, and so giving the mosque its unique look and atmosphere. At certain times, the mosque does not allow non-Muslims through its doors, but when it is open to the public, visitors are advised not to let opportunity pass them by to discover this magnificent historical wonder. Every church and mosque in Algeria has a story to tell, and the Jama al-Jdid Mosque is a building that holds the secrets to the past and the good fortune to still be in existence for future generations to enjoy.
Algiers is the capital city of Algeria. The city is rich in Algerian tradition and history, with numerous monuments, museums, historical buildings, and other places of interest for tourists to visit. One of the fascinating sites to visit in Algiers is the ancient Kechawa Mosque. Situated in the Kasbah of Algiers, the Kechawa Mosque has a long and interesting history. Ottoman Empire, the Kichawa Mosque was strategically placed at the center of the city, at the point where the roads from the lower Kasbah led out to the 5 gates of the city. This was a district that contained grand family palaces owned by the wealthy and influential political and commercial figures of the Ottoman Regency. During the 16th and 17th centuries, the Ottoman Empire dominated territory in 3 continents, including large areas of southeastern Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Remnants of the Ottoman Empire's influence are still found in architecture throughout these territories. It is believed, but not proven, that a mosque had occupied the site of the Kichawa Mosque since the 14th century. However, the only documentation of the mosque's existence is a notarial document dated in 1612. According to the commemorative inscription, the Kichawa Mosque was rebuilt by Hassan Pasha in the latter part of the 18th century. In 1838, the mosque became the St. Philippe Cathedral, and in 1940, a cross was placed on top of the building under the direction of Marshal Sylvain Vallée of France, the conqueror of the Algerian city of Constantine. In 1962, the cathedral was converted to the Kichawa Mosque. Overlooking a public square, the mosque has twin minarets rising up either side of the 3-arched entranceway. The mosque is of a Byzantine and Moorish design with graceful archways, black and white marble columns, and beautiful decorations throughout. A tomb with the remains of San Geronimo is housed in one of the mosque chambers. The Kichawa Mosque, this mosque turned cathedral turned mosque, bears testimony to the history of Algiers. It also serves as a symbol of the restitution of the Kichawa Mosque to Islam and is seen as having significant religious and cultural importance. Visitors to the Algerian capital of Algiers should include the Kichawa Mosque on their list of interesting places to see.
تشاهدون برامج إذاعة الجزائر الدولية بالصوت والصورة عبر تقنية لايف ستريم على صفحات التواصل الاجتماعي فيسبوك، تويتر وقناة اليوتيوب لإذاعة الجزائر الدولية. لمزيد من الأخبار تابعوا radio-algerie.dz/radio